Hi everyone! I just reached the halfway point at the last song, and now, appropriately, I'm moving on to another album, which is entitled The Game. And this song, perhaps it's the first one that opens the album, I'm guessing, because the title of the song is Play the Game. Well, I'm not even going to try to guess what it's about, because I've learned that Queen is great at taking things in unexpected directions, or very obvious directions in unexpected ways. So let me just read about it, but first I'll remind you that you can check out my Ko-fi and Patreon pages if you want to support this journey of mine, and also if you want to enjoy some of the things that I have there which I can't put on YouTube, such as series of copyrighted music and other things which have issues with going on YouTube, as well as some really enjoyable live gathering opportunities where we get together and we listen to music together live and we share and discuss and all that great stuff. So let's see what I have to learn about Play the Game. The Game is Queen's 8th studio album, released on the 30th of June 1980. And it was the first album where Queen used a synthesizer. Oh, that's a big step forward for them, isn't it? A critical and commercial success, The Game became the only Queen album to reach #1 in the US, and also became their best-selling studio album in the US, with 4 million copies sold to date. Pretty big numbers, but I've learned to expect high numbers from Queen. This first use of the synthesizer, well, it's tempting for me to say, I wonder if they're going to be good at it, but at the same time, I have no doubt that they'll do a fine job handling it. Play the Game was a hit in the UK, reaching #14 in the charts, and in the US, peaking at #42. The song commences with a series of overlapping rushing noises on an Oberheim OBX synthesizer, heralding the band's acceptance of electronic instruments into their once explicitly no-synths sonic repertoire. I have enjoyed and appreciated their commitment to no synthesized sounds up to this point. Although, I guess it makes sense, and they're probably right to go ahead and accept it once they realize that it could be used for really good musical purposes. Just like accepting the fact that you plug a guitar into an amp and you start amplifying things really is a 20th century development, a rock music development. And perhaps that's one of the things that has been challenging for the classical music world to accept, is that this idea of having everything amplified and modified, does it take us away from what is genuine? I don't know, it's just a thought in my mind, and I think Queen was right to be open-minded about it, although I haven't heard yet what they do with it. The cover of the single was the first time Mercury displayed his soon-to-be-famous mustache, which would become a huge part of his look for many years, although at the time, hardcore Queen fans didn't like the change of image, even going as far as to send him disposable razors to shave it off. Imagine being sent disposable razors. I wonder how many Queen fans did that. How many sent them in the mail? Okay, so what do I think? Do I approve? Do I disapprove? That's my first exposure to Queen's synthesizer use. I don't know. I don't know. It sounds a bit like some aircraft coming into land, doesn't it? So my question is, what's the point? I guess I'll have to keep going. But I'll listen again to this opening just because I need to get myself adjusted to their use of synthesizers.
house of gold. This is your life. Don't play hard to get. It's a free world. All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game.
It's so easy for me to just get immersed in the Queen sound. They just sweep you along, don't they? But I want to share what I'm thinking as I'm going through this piece because, yeah, I don't want to miss that. So let's back up a little bit even now. I know we haven't gone all the way through the piece, but there's some things that stand out to me. So we'll start from after the synths. I still haven't figured out the point of them here.
Open up your mind and let me step inside. Rest.
Isn't it nice the way, open up your mind and let me step inside, as if you're stepping up into a room, crossing a threshold. Open up your mind and let me. There's a little bit of indecision there, back and forth. Can I persuade you to do this? Let's go back and forth here and let me step. Now it opens inside. Nice little touch there with that.
Let me step inside. Rest your weary head and let your heart.
And then the same figure. Rest your weary head and let your heart decide. Whatever it is, I haven't gotten there yet. When he sings Rest Your Weary Head, it sounds like you're just laying your head down on a pillow. Rest your weary head and let your heart
Step inside. Rest your weary head and let your heart decide. It's so
couple little subtle differences between the phrases. Open up your mind and let me step inside. It's simply oscillating between those two. But when we get to this one, subtle difference.
weary head and let your heart decide.
There's a little rise and then a fall. Decide.
Let your heart decide. It's so easy when you know the rules. It's so easy.
I like the bass here.
All you have.
I guess bass is one of the things I don't comment on so often with Queen, because usually it kind of just stays in the background and does its job so well. But here, the way the layout of the music is, you really get to enjoy and sink into that deep bass sound, which is really nice.
You know the rules. It's so easy. All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game. Everybody play the game of love.
And here comes the guitar.
When you're feeling down in your resistance.
One of the things I haven't commented on a whole lot in a lot of my first listens is the time signature. And actually in one of our recent, I guess the last gathering on Patreon where we were listening live and discussing the music, somebody said, I was listening to one of the pieces and they said, so what do you think of the time signature changes in this piece? And the question kind of surprised me, because my answer then was, what's the point? Is it something that is really, it's a tool to get the music to sound the way we want? Is it being used as an exercise? As a show off? Oh, hey, I can change time signatures? Or is it just a natural outcome of what the music is doing? And when I feel that it's a natural outcome of what the music is doing, to me, from my classical background, because I see time signature changes all the time, I experience them, I play them, I listen to them all the time, they don't strike me as something, oh my goodness, there's a time signature change, let's talk about it. It's more about when it doesn't work well, then there's something to talk about. Or when it's used to really give a noticeable, intentional impact that is specifically due to the time signature change. But I just wanted to bring that up because here is one of those moments where there's an incredibly natural time signature change. Probably most of you don't even notice it. But if we back up and listen, oh, actually there's one up here too, right? Happens right here as well. We're changing from 4 beats in a bar to 2 beats in a bar. Why? Well, let's listen to what happens.
All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game. Everybody play the game of love.
So when he's saying, play the game of love, well, that moment needed to be extended a bit. It needed to have that feeling of play the game of love. How do you do that? Throw in a couple extra beats. And nobody is really going to notice because it feels like it belongs there. That is why it looks like we're cutting out a couple beats here. No, actually those were thrown in extra. Those 2 beats were added extra to what would have been, let's see if we could come up with this without it.
Game. Everybody play the game of love.
What if he did, everybody play the game of love? Boring, boring. We would have said, so what's the point of this line? But this is just a quick little demonstration, which it's so great that it came up right here, right now, just recently after that discussion, because I might not have even thought to show it to you except for that discussion. But you can see how just a little shift, a little modification, a little addition. How would I describe it in different terms? Think of it like riding a bicycle over a jump. And the time in the air, the airborne time, is kind of, well, it's not on the ground. You're not traveling straight across the ground and staying in contact with the ground. When you go up in the air, you kind of hover there for a little bit. Your momentum carries you through, but time stands still for a moment. You're suspended in the air, and then finally you hit and land and go on. It could be a bicycle, it could be a motorbike, it could be whatever you like to ride. You won't find me doing that, but you get the idea. And it's kind of what's happening in the music here. We're going along, we're in good solid contact with the ground or with the pulse of the piece, the beat pattern of the piece, and then we want to launch up and suspend for a moment. And then we go on. But somehow the music, even though we say time stops, or you're suspended in time, or you're hanging in the air, the truth is time is still passing. How much? Does it matter? What matters is how does that moment feel? And so we simply put however much time we need to make it work. That's why this is 2/4. Not 3/4, not 4/4. It's exactly the amount of time that's needed for this particular moment, sung this way. All right, let's keep going. Nice bass line. Bum, 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 bum. I'm not reading it, and I just listened to it once, so probably wasn't totally accurate, but that big organ-like pedal board sound, right?
Play the game of love. When you're feeling down and your resistance is low.
Did you notice how the guitar there actually, well, I was talking about this bass guitar, but actually it's, as I'm going back and hearing it again, it's Brian May's guitar sort of shadowing the bass. And that's what gives it that powerful sound. But that's what leads out of the voice. This play the game of love, and then this powerful sound walking down. And we kind of expect that to be the thing that not only to be the thing that bridges the gap between the two vocal parts, the verse that came and the verse that's coming up. But instead, it leads us to another little guitar line, which is kind of serving as the next voice. So I've talked about this before, how Brian May treats his guitar like a voice. And I guess that's one of the things that really attracts me to his guitar playing, is the vocal quality of it. Even this powerful line here could be a bass singer really just singing a strong bass line. Or the soprano coming in with the more florid, elaborate melody. But it's all so melodic, so voice-like. I really deeply enjoy it. There's the guitar. And there's the other guitar. And then the voice comes in.
Light another cigarette and let yourself go.
Let yourself
go. Life. Don't play hard.
It's as if he's handing it to. This is your life. It's yours. Take it.
Self go. This is your life. Don't play hard to get. It's a free world. All you have to do is
The bass is nice here.
play the game. Everybody play the game of love. Ooh, yeah.
And here is this part again.
My game of love
But
has
this time there was no guitar voice beforehand. Nice little surprise. Little variance. Never letting us get locked into a pattern. Although this is incredibly structured and patterned, yet it never a dull moment.
My game of love has just begun. Love runs
Different change in
from my
texture
head
here, right?
down to my toes. My love is pumping through my veins. Play the game. Driving me insane. Come, play the game, play the game, play the game, play the game.
Play the game, play the game, play the game, play the game. Well, I should comment on this whole message of the song. It's I mean, in some ways it doesn't make sense. In some ways it makes perfect sense. Open up your mind and let me step inside. He doesn't start by saying, open up your heart. He says, open up your mind and let me step inside. This is about a game. This is strategy. This is play. This is not necessarily, well, the next line says, rest your weary head and let your heart decide. Let me step inside. Rest your weary head. Just after you say, open up your mind and let me step inside. Rest your weary head and let your heart decide. But this idea of play the game, everybody play the game. And yet, he's not pushing it towards a chess match. This is a game where you let your resistance go. You just let everything go by the way. You stop worrying about all of that. Just let yourself go into the game and it's your life. Funny. Play the game, but don't play hard to get. It's a free world. All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game. It's as if he's saying whatever he can say to persuade the object of his desire, of his love, to just stop fighting it. Let's just go with it. Let's just go with it. In fact, now we're in the section where it says, my love is pumping through my veins, driving me insane. Come, play the game, play the game. I'm crazy about you. But he's not saying I'm crazy about you. He says, come, play the game with me, play the game. It's an invitation. And this piece is really theatrically presented. It's not just his voice. It's not a sort of really intimate piece of music. It's as if he's going on stage and trying to persuade through a story, through an act, through a charade. Play the game of love with me. Can I persuade you through my theatrics? We have his voice. We have the guitars, the multiple guitars. We have the many voices coming in as a chorus on this stage. And all of this is for the purpose of persuading this individual to come join us, come join me in this game. Play it. Come on. What's so hard to do? Just put everything aside, play. And I bring that up because for a piece that is attempting to persuade one towards intimacy, towards love, this is not a particularly intimate piece of music. And so it's incredibly well suited to this topic of play the game, because it's set up as a play. As a play, with the chorus, with the guitars, all the different parts coming and going, with this very staged, theatrical musical descriptors of and illustrations of different parts of the text. It's a real contrast to My Melancholy Blues. That one sticks in my mind as being one of the most or what's the other one? About the cat.
All Dead.
All Dead. Yeah. Those stick in my mind as being on the more vulnerable side of their work. This is not vulnerable. This is persuasive. This is playful. And this is a bit of acting going into it. Interesting, because he's saying, don't play hard to get. It's funny to have acting and stage style be the thing that you present as your way of encouraging intimacy. But that's what's happening here. It's a funny little tug of war going on between what is being asked, what is being wanted, and how it's being attempted to get that.
Come, play the game, play the game, play the game, play the game.
Was that a bit of synthesizer there? I guess so. Okay, that was fun. And the synthesizer makes a whole lot more sense here than it did at the beginning. But now it makes the beginning make sense as well. Also, I can't help but comment, again, on the way the guitar echoes the melody. Right there. Play the game, play the game. That's what the guitar is saying. You don't even need it to say any words itself. It's singing it as an answer. Play the game. This mix.
All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game. Play the game. Of love. Your life. Don't play hard to get. It's a free world. All you have to do is fall in love. Play the game.
I don't think that I've heard Queen's music do a fade out at the end very often. Now I'm trying to remember when. Have I heard them? I guess maybe. I don't know. It surprised me because I'm so used to hearing them come to some flashy ending or wrapping it up all nice, and now, oh, they did a fade out. What a surprise! Now that I've heard the way they incorporate synth in the later part of the piece, I want to go back and hear at the very beginning that little intro once more. I have a little idea. At first, I said that sounded like aircraft landing, coming into land. And without context, it does. Because what else sounds like that in our everyday world? But now that I've heard the song and listened to how it was incorporated later, as well as followed the lyrics, I have a different idea. And I'm curious what you think about this. In the song, it starts showing up after love runs from my head down to my toes. My love is pumping through my veins, driving me insane. Come play the game, play the game, play the game. And And then you hear this sort of whooshing, swooshing in the kind of guitar solo section, but all the other instruments as well. And it's as if that's kind of the sparks of love flying through the veins, isn't it? And so when I went back to listen to the beginning, it sounds like we're seeing a little close-up shot of just a portion of the veins and the sparks flying through. Zoom, 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 zoom. And then we launch into, rather abruptly, it just cuts and launches into, open up your mind and let me step inside. As if, let me get into your veins a little bit. Let me get into your veins. Can we get this going here? Because I've got all the sparks and exciting feeling in me. I need to see if I can get it into you. Play the game, play the game, play the game. And in that sense, it makes sense that this is a theatrical piece, because it's an attempt to get into the mind and start the process. Just some way of leaving an impression. Well, that's my first impression. And it's a nice piece of music. It's Queen. So we'll see what comes next soon. I'll see you then.